So let's talk about a couple ways to use the system to kind of get your creative juices going. And the way we want to start this is really focus on what we call the KISS method. And this is just keeping it super simple. Okay? And that is just a baseline system of taking one of your property signs, and you're going to put a a sign writer on the top of every one of your property for sale signs. So as soon as you set up a listing, just include this basic thing in each one of your listings, and it's going to work fabulously. So once again, I want you to make sure that you put a 24/7 information sign writer on every listing every time. So what happens is you're going to be out there setting up your signs anyway, so just include this on your property setup checklist. And how that might look like is saying, as soon as you get the listing, you haven't even seen the property yet, I'd recommend you going on the internet and setting up your property address and assigning a code to it before you even go out to the property. At that time, it's always a good idea to record a general message, something to the effect of, hey, this is a brand new property on the market, we're very excited about it, we will be giving you detailed property information, but we'll contact you with details as soon as possible. Now, why would I say to record that even though you haven't recorded property information? Because here's why. Because once you get out onto the property, a lot of times you can either record it right then when you're on site or wait till you get back to your office to record it. But what happens is, and we get this feedback from agents all the time, is that as soon as they set up the sign, they haven't even left the neighborhood and they start getting calls and people driving by. And isn't that amazing? You just may have driven around the corner and then the prospect drives around and you may be within 100 yards of that prospect and they're dialing your number. So you have that opportunity to get with them as soon as possible. Now once you've seen the property, then go back in and record your detailed home audio tour as soon as possible. And we will provide you as part of your startup kit some templates on how to record those property descriptions. But once again, once you've seen the property, record your home audio tour, your property description as soon as possible. Now, one thing you got to do as you look at this system, remember, those text messages, when they call you, those prospects call you, they're going to arrive in your cell phone within seconds of that prospect dialing. That means you have a very hot prospect. So it is really important, and it's a great sales practice if you call them back immediately. Now, why is that important? Well, we hear again and again and again from agents that there's a magic 5 minutes. If you can call them back in that first 5 minutes after they text message you, then that is when they are the most likely to be able to help understand why you're calling, and that transition into a really meaningful sales conversation is very natural. That doesn't mean if you can't get to it in the next 5 minutes, don't call them, but it's just the faster you call them back, the better. That's kind of logic, right? Because it's a hot lead. They're sitting there, they've inquired, they're interested, so call them back as quickly as you possibly can. Now, this is one thing that really can distinguish you from all the other agents in the marketplace. And let's be honest, real estate agents have a bad reputation, and mostly it's earned, that they're really not very good at following up. And so you think about what this does for you in the marketplace. If you get that text message and you call them back right then, you are setting yourself up to be really a fabulous real estate professional. Now, every buyer wants to hire a real estate agent that's going to be responsive and respectful and responsible for really driving results. And what a great opportunity for you to set a great relationship and start that sales conversation. So what I want you to think about, what's going to happen when people call? First off, I want you to really be prepared. The Info on the Go system is the only system in the marketplace that actually sends you the property address with the text message. We know that Atlantic Pacific Real Estate professionals will be managing sometimes dozens, if not hundreds, of properties, REO properties, and so it's important if you're managing that many codes and that many properties. When you get a text message, if you just get a code, that's not going to help you very much. But if you get an address with that code, and so you know exactly what that is, then you're going to be much more able to call them back as quickly as possible. Now, resistance is a natural part of an interruptive phone call. People are not going to know who you are or why you're calling, and some of them may be a little frustrated and wondering how you got their phone number. But this is very natural. Remember, you are a salesperson, and so all you have to do is really overcome that and start to build credibility, and the best way to do that is just be right up front. You called about this specific property, and my my service to you is that I am absolutely committed to giving you the value you request. And I just want to make sure that I answer any questions you may have. So it's just using your selling skills to build rapport, to begin to understand their needs through a sales conversation. And that will, in a high percentage of the time, you're going to find the opportunity for that person. And once they start thinking about it and they start recognizing this is a really responsive and responsible real estate professional, they're going to love it. And that's going to help you in a lot of different ways. So once again, the basic method I want everybody to think about is every time you get a sign, every time you get a property, just include putting a rider on the property setup checklist. Just go out right out when you put your sign in, put your rider out there, and let those leads flow, and you will start making more money. So that's the first method. I want you to think about that. Now the next one's going to build on that, and I think you'll appreciate this as we go into it. Now some of you, obviously your main goal as Atlantic Pacific Real Estate is going to be selling SEO properties, but you're also going to be able to sell lots of other properties. So this is how this is going to work. Now this is interesting. There's some research that was done by the National Association of Realtors. Now think about what I'm going to be telling you here. That 74% of sellers and 61% of buyers hire the first agent that they talk to. Think about that. If you're an agent that is going to be calling them back immediately after they inquire on a property, you have a very high chance of securing that business and building that relationship of trust. Another piece of data that they came up with is that only 1% of sellers take time to contact 5 or more agents before listing their home. So here's the other thing, and I'm going to touch on this again in just a second, but a large percentage, what you'll find, of these buyers that are inquiring about your REO properties will also have homes to sell, or they will know people that have homes to sell. So this is an opportunity, once again, to distinguish yourself as a highly professional realtor, right? Distinguish yourself from any of the competition. But because you have to understand what sellers want. And what they want is they want real estate professionals that are respectful, that are responsive, that show responsibility for delivering results. And this system will put you in a perfect position to demonstrate that right out of the blocks and pick up lots of additional listing presentations. So how would this work if you go out on a listing presentation? Let's just say that you have your standard listing meeting where you're going out, you're meeting with a new a new prospective seller. So what happens is if you do a little bit of homework, and I talk about homework, don't get nervous, I'm talking about literally like 5 minutes. Go out and do a little homework, look at the property, understand what it is, find as much information as you can about that property. Before you go out there, assign one of your codes to that seller's property. Just go online, put it on, assign that code to that property, and record a property description to the best of your ability. Take that sign, their sign, to the presentation with that code. And in the middle of your presentation, you're going to be able to say, in fact, I'm the kind of agent that is going to do everything possible to sell your home. Let me demonstrate one of the tools that I use to make sure that we're contacting every prospective buyer as quickly as possible. Have them dial the toll-free number. Have them put in the code, and have your cell phone sitting right in front of them on the kitchen table. And what will happen is that cell phone will buzz, and they will see that that is their caller information, and you now have a great and very impressive sales presentation. And I tell you what, it works, because what you're able to do right out of the blocks is you're able to show them that you are a professional and that you are committed to following up on every prospect immediately, and that will help you to sell their home more quickly. Now tell me, what buyer does not want that kind of service and that kind of response out of their real estate professional? It will help you do that. I promise you that. It works almost magically. And I just want to remind you that a high percentage of the prospects that are looking to buy and they're going to be looking at your REO properties, there's a good chance that they may also have to sell their current home. So once again, as you go into that sales call, it's imperative that you call them back as quickly as you can, begin to understand their need, build rapport, use your selling skills, because this will give you the ability to pick up both sides of many transactions. And we have agents that literally sell tens of millions of dollars every year, not only of REO properties, but they pick up additional transactions, and they use that to their benefit in a huge, huge way. So that's the second case study I want you to really understand and leverage as part of the service that Atlantic Pacific has provided for you. All right, let's talk about the third one. A lot of teams have buyers reps, and you're always looking for new buyers. So here's an idea that you may be able to use to start finding qualified buyers and interested buyers. So what happens is a lot of teams or a lot of agents will run regular ads in targeted local publications. So let me give you an example of what that might look like. So for instance, you may run a simple ad that says motivated seller, 2-bedroom, 2-bath home in Santa Ana, and you put your toll-free number with an ID. Now, that may be an ad you run in a penny saver or a thrifty nickel. You may run a very similar type of an ad in a local newspaper like the Orange County Register. Okay, 2-bedroom, 2-bath home in Santa Ana, and you give a little property description out there, so if prospective buyers read the ad, they'll go ahead and find out a little bit more information, and they'll dial up, and as soon as they dial that code, you'll know that person called from the ad in the Orange County Register or the penny saver. So you may run ads like that for lots of different types of properties. You may have condos, right? 2-bedroom, 2-bath condos in a specific market. You may run that in an apartment magazine. You may do a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home in an upscale Orchard Hills area. Okay, you may run that ad in the New York Times or any of the different ads. You may run an ad for townhomes, and so you create categories of homes in specific geographies. Okay. Now, this is how this works, is remember that these are people, these agents that do this, they may not even have a listing. What they've done is they now create a little spreadsheet. And they say that I have any 2-bedroom, 2-bath homes, single-family homes in Santa Ana, and we're going to run this ad, 2345. So if anybody calls on 2345, instantly they know they're looking for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home in Santa Ana. Same thing for every one of these, right? Now here's the irony of this is the agents who do this and do this really successfully, they don't even have listings. They're just looking for buyers in specific markets, in specific categories and types of homes. So what this will look like is this agent just keeps a list of current MLS listings, or they'll pull them immediately on these specific targets. So these agents will just go ahead and keep a list of these listings all the time, and so when anybody calls, they know they're looking for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home in any specific marketplace, and the conversation goes something like this. You bet I have a wonderful property. Not only do I have that property I shared with you on the information line, but I happen to have 5 or 6 other properties that would be really interesting, and I'd love the opportunity to show you these properties. So now what they have is they have a bona fide, qualified lead. They now have the opportunity to set up a home tour and to start showing this prospective buyer the properties that are in their marketplace and specific to the types of properties that they're looking for. So now that they've got that conversation going, they have a rich opportunity to create a wonderful relationship to not only sell that person a property, but also they can convert that into listing agreements in the future. So it's a great opportunity, and it's another creative way to use your system to help you to generate qualified leads that are immediately interested in whatever you're selling. So I just want to share those 3 case studies with you, and hopefully the goal with doing this is to give you some ideas and to stir up your creativity and understanding, because this 24/7 home audio tour with call capture technology, it works. It works great. It's very easy to manage. Literally only will take you 5 minutes here and there to manage this system. We don't want you sitting around the office messing with it. But what I really want you to do is understand that there are literally hundreds of ways you can utilize your toll-free numbers and your ID codes to generate new leads for your business. Please know that Info on the Go is extremely committed to the success of your business and your personal success. So we really want to make sure that we provide you the support and the ideas to help you to be successful. So we'd ask you to please feel free to call us anytime if you need ideas or coaching on how to use the system. Or we'd love to hear from you if you could share your success stories with us. And if you've come up with an idea that's going to help other Atlantic Pacific real estate agents, we'd love to share that and spread the wealth, because everybody wins when Atlantic Pacific sells more real estate. So please know that we'd love to hear from you. Please go ahead and email us at service@infoonthego.net, or give us a call on our toll-free customer service line, 877-890-2555. Once again, this is Brent Driggs with Info on the Go, and we'll look forward to talking to you again as we tell you how to set up your property addresses and configure your system on session number 2. We'll talk to you in a little bit.